Good morning and welcome to our annual State of the City breakfast this morning. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Chamber, it's my pleasure to welcome everybody today. For the few of you that I don't have met yet, my name is Glenn Morris. I'm the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're honored to be able to host this event each year. And appreciate the partnership we have with the city in giving us an opportunity to bring folks together and talk about what's going on in our community and where we can all work together to make this a better community for all of us. Before I bring the mayor up to do her presentation, I want to acknowledge some other dignitaries who are here with us this morning. Hopefully we'll get that. Would you join me in welcoming the following officials who have joined us this morning? Councilwoman Anna Waterfield is here. Chief City IT official, Jason Stilwell, and many talents. Supervisor Steve Levanino, Supervisor to be, can I say that? I didn't say that. Representing our Peter Adam is Bob Nelson. Representing Jordan Cunningham, Lee Collier. Representing Congressman Carvajal is Wendy Mata. In addition, I know there are a number of members of the Chamber Board and many others who are with us this morning, and so we appreciate all of you being here. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, Alex Patino.
Thank you and good morning. I still can't believe this many people get up this early in the morning and they're cheerful. They talk to one another. I want to thank you so much for being here, and so many of you I know, and have you been coming to this for years, and we see each other during the week and other events that we go to. So this is I can't believe it, but this is my 7th year as mayor. Is this bouncing back? I can hear it a little bit. It is? Or not? Anyway, in my 7th year as mayor, and on the council long before that, but I still have the same color of hair. So it's really disconcerting when people change the color of their hair and then you can't recognize them. I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff that's going on in Santa Maria, something that's new and other things that are in progress. And we know so much is going on. I take such pride in what is going on in Santa Maria, and I'm very proud of the people that I serve with. Because we're up there having to make tough decisions and in the best interest of this city. And so sometimes in the best interest from our own perspective. Now, Santa Maria continues to have steady progress to retain businesses. And this is really important because if we don't have the businesses, we don't have the sales tax, and we cannot provide the services in the city of Santa Maria. So we face in economic development businesses, we're facing the accurate count in the 2020 census. We're facing the challenge of housing prices, and of course the mounting pension obligations that every jurisdiction in the state of California faces. To all the employers and the Chamber members gathered here today, your success is Santa Maria's success. To all the residents, and I say all the residents, and especially those people that voted for Measure U, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. How much more it is important, and I've told people, you may not want to vote for anything on the ballot that says increase your taxes. Don't do it at the state level, but certainly do it for Santa Maria. We know where the money's going, and the 5 of us know how to spend it well. I think we know it's not our money, it's your money, and that's the way we want it spent. Also want to thank all the school districts, and I see Dr. Walters here. We have the high school district, the San Rafael School District, the Orchid School District, and how important they are to the future of Santa Maria, and thank them for what they do. We work for you day in and day out. The city's employees are ensuring that you have a safe, clean city, clean water, your public safety, your safe roads, buildings, and the robust leisure opportunities with many of our municipal services. We have 29 parks in Santa Maria. One is outside of city limits, but we really value the outdoors. We value the youth in our community so that they can use these parks. To begin with, I'm often asked about jobs. The Santa Maria employment picture is very good. Our city unemployment rate was only 3.8% in September. A year ago, it was 4.3%, and 2 years ago, it was 5.1%. In fact, the State Employment Development Department estimates that Santa Maria has added 1,000 jobs in the past 5 years. So I think there's more than that that's been added, because we estimate 800 to 1,000 jobs have been created by the businesses at Enos Ranch, and that's only part of our growing community. Enos Ranch at Belrabian Highway 101, as we know, Costco, Lowe's, Dick's Sporting Goods, and many other businesses. It is a regional shopping destination, bringing sales tax from out of town. I was in Costco one day, and the mayor of Salt Lake was in there, and he said, "I'm not going to delete it anymore. I'm going to shop here." And I always thank the mayors when they come here for any meetings that we're leaving their money in Santa Maria. We appreciate it. Toyota, which is of Santa Maria, is grading dirt at its future location, the Enos Ranch. Kia will open in the existing Honda facility once Honda relocates to Enos Ranch. The new elementary school is taking place. Somebody asked me one day what that building was, and I assumed everybody knew it was the new elementary school building. It's going to be a 2-story, 60,000 square foot campus, and it's currently under construction. It will include 26 classrooms and will accommodate up to 900 students from kindergarten through 6th grade. The San Benito School District says the campus will be open to students in August of 2020. That's just right around the corner. And the naming of the place will happen in the spring of 2020. Next door to that, there will be an apartment complex of about 300 units. If you can imagine, apartments of 300 units. It wasn't too long ago that the Toads Group opened up their apartments on Gloucester. And we haven't had market rate apartments in this community for 25 years, and now we're seeing more and more apartments. The city will restore the historic Smith Enos House and build a park with a multicultural center on the South Bradley Road. We had focus groups come together at the Betts Hall talking about what we wanted to see in the multicultural center. Coast Hills Credit Union is finishing the new corporate headquarters in a beautiful 3-story, 90,000 square foot building at Belravia and 101. They already are moving people here from Vandenberg Village and hope to have all the back office employees relocated by the end of the year. The new facility have more than 150 employees. So we're seeing all these things coming up. People ask me constantly, what's going up at the corner of such and such, and I really have to think. Sometimes I don't know what's going on, and I have to call City Hall and ask them. But I always say I'll get back to you. On the north end of Broadway, we're seeing the Hampton Inn open. Wendy's is already open. And the hotel we expect to be open at the end of the year. At the Crossroads Center, we see Krispy Kreme. Another lack of fattening donuts in our community. So they're supposed to open in the middle of November. At the corner of Highway 135 and Skyway Drive, formerly known as Lakeview Promenade, is now called Elements Apartments. This could be a mix of condos, apartments, and retails. Hobby Lobby. If any of you have been into a Hobby Lobby, the tenant improvement plans were approved in September, so they can start doing the interior modifications at the former Toys R Us store. We have a self-storage is under construction in the 14,000 block, 1400 block of West Belravia. Overall, building permit activity remains strong. Nearly 1,500 permits issued so far this year, valued at $70 million. In the past 2 years, we've had 211 applications to accessory dwelling units and in our system today, and that's 81 of those have had final inspections. These are standalone dwellings. Now, if you know that we passed at the council that we said that the person in the main house had to be related to the person in the dwelling unit, and we thought that protects the integrity of the neighborhood. However, our state, in its great wisdom again, said that doesn't have to happen. Little by little, Sacramento keeps taking away the power from local governments, and that's just one thing. We are, I swear we are bound, pretty soon we will have no zoning at all to protect any of our neighborhoods in the state of California. A.T. Steele, University of Health Sciences, will lease 25,000 square feet on the second floor of the new Coast Hills building, and in partnership with community health centers of the Central Coast. So, and we applaud A.T. Steele University for choosing Santa Maria. I can remember having meetings with them way back when the whole council would meet, and we just kept thinking, I hope they come to Santa Maria. And so often we think people underestimate what we have here, and we are so proud to have them here. The city is doing an express review on the permit for A.T. Steele's tenant improvements. We have Ospient, which is Left Lane Sports, relocating operations from San Luis Obispo to Santa Maria, bringing 40 new jobs to town. Elsewhere, we have Central Coast Truck Center is growing. This is a family-owned business, fourth-generation company, now in the 90th year of business. It purchased 9 acres on Westville Road, and they want to build and open a 40,000 square foot Freightliner and Western Star dealership to sell service and finance new trucks. And I thank you, Tom Ross, for having them meet with us also to see what we could do here in Santa Maria. The Santa Maria office now open at 16 employees at 621 South Smith, and they aim to grow 40 to 50 employees. Shaw's Restaurant, which we all know, is aiming for reopening in December. January might seem a little bit more realistic, but they said December, hopefully. As you recall, they suffered that devastating burn a few months ago. Speaking of construction, we have 26 center lane miles of local roads were resurfaced this summer by a contractor working for the city. This is your gas tax money at work, and this is money that comes to Santa Maria. I always like to brag about our pavement index, and Steve Kahn always says, your community is judged by how good your roads are. And I really believe that's true because we can get more calls, complaints about potholes and our bad pavement. And so, of course, if it's made in Broadway, I blame it on the state. And so, but in the city, I think we're doing a great job of putting the money. And you know what? When you put it up front, then it takes care of itself, and you're repairing as you go along. You're not having to wait until it gets so bad as in some communities. And I always give Napa as an example because I used to go up there and visit my mom a lot. And their roads were so bad that you felt like you were dodging the potholes, but you couldn't even dodge them anymore because they were all over the place. Measure U, I say thank you again. Just 16 days from today marks 1 year since Measure U was approved. On November 6, 2018, 74% of Santa Marians said, yes, we like what you're doing. This is my interpretation. We have trust in you that you're making the right decisions for the money that comes into the city. And all of the 1 cent general purpose sales tax increases and maintains, enhances funding for public safety, services for youth, and improves our quality of life here in Santa Maria. Measure U enables the city to hire 57 full-time and part-time positions to enhance services. This is unprecedented here in Santa Maria. This is the equivalent of hiring a decade's worth of new positions all in 1 year. All of this money stays right here in Santa Maria. And it was written so that the state could not come in and take any of our money as they have in the past, because the state has taken millions out of California, out of Santa Maria. We're moving forward to implement the police department's proposed Measure U strategic plan by recruiting and hiring 15 personnel, including sworn officers and professional staff. We have 9 officers right now in the police academy. Additionally, Measure U maintains 22 full-time positions in the police department. We could not do that without people in the Santa Maria voting and supporting Measure U. With support from a $1.6 million federal grant and from Measure U funding, our city will double the number of firefighters at its downtown fire station. We also are purchasing 3 new fire vehicles and are currently recruiting for a deputy fire chief. Additionally, Measure U maintains 10 full-time fire department positions. Again, this brings a quality of life to Santa Maria. We're using Measure U funding to enhance recreation staff to improve youth programs and purchase vans for field trips for at-risk youth. One thing I found out with meeting with our kids at the high schools was transportation is a big problem. It's not like when we were kids, you could hop on your bicycle and ride across town. I had a girl at Santa Maria High say to me that she was in athletics and she would get out late. She said, I have a 45-minute walk home. That to me is unacceptable. Our kids shouldn't have to do that. And one time she felt that someone was following her and she said, I didn't know what to do. Can I just go up and ask the policeman? I said, you certainly can. I said, you just go knock on their window and say, hey, I need a ride home, and say, the mayor said you could take me home. But the kids in our community come first. What's coming? Sunday hours at the city's public library are to begin in January, paid for by Measure U. This will expand services to all populations, including youth and families. And if you haven't been to the library on a Saturday or Sunday, you need to go and see all the families that are using that library. It's just great. I can remember when the library was built, and former Mayor Larry Lavanino and I went through, and then we had the people that were going to be doing the flooring and the wall covering came and met with us. And the woman says, oh, you're just going to love this. Well, I didn't. She put down all these ugly colors. And I said, have you ever been into a kid's classroom where there's just colors bouncing all over the place, and you get in the room and you just get so excited? And she looked at me, and the answer obviously was no, she hadn't been to a kid's classroom. So she says, oh, well, you wait till I see this. And so she put all the flooring down, the swatches on the floor and the wall covering. And she said, what do you think now? And I said, oh, I even hate it worse than when you first walked in the door. I said, it is so damn ugly. And then Larry says, well, whatever Alice wants, that's fine with me. So we got some real vibrant colors in the kids' part of the library. They did sneak in some ugly colors in one of the restrooms, and I never did check it out. But, you know, we were paying, the city of Santa Maria was paying for it, and we certainly were going to get what we wanted. We are in the midst of building a shooting range for the city's police department. This is something that we've needed to do for years. There was a shooting range in the old police station, which reverberated through the whole police department. So now we're going to have a shooting range outside of town. And this summer, this winter, we're going to be completing the reconstruction of Paul Nelson Field sometime in December to February, and reconstruct Russell Park by investing $1.3 million in community development block grant funds that we get. As I mentioned earlier, we will complete the design for the new proposed Enos Ranch Park and Multicultural Center on 8 acres between College Drive and Bradley Road to enhance the amenities for the community. Public Works Department is going to continue working on planning environmental design of a new interchange at Highway 101 and Broadway in cooperation with Caltrans. And that's, you know, quite often you just wonder what Caltrans is thinking when they do things, and especially at the Better Radioff ramp. That was never, at the beginning, it was never constructed. Even sometimes when we've approved roads in the city of Santa Maria, I always say if you take the soccer mom in her white Suburban and have her drive around, she can give you the route. It's much cheaper than trying to figure out and do all your studies on your own. It's worth mentioning that we're coming up on completing the first full year of city council district elections. So in 2020, we'll have District 2 and District 1 will be included in the district elections, as I said, in 2020. The big thing that's coming up, and Ms. Soko here has been working on, is the census for 2020. This is so important that we get everyone counted. And here in Santa Maria, we do have clusters of communities that are very hard to count, and especially the kids under 5. And everybody counts. We have to get them counted. An undercount will result in Santa Maria receiving less than its fair share of the federal funding for local governments. Healthcare, transportation or roads, our schools, and other public services that we give money for CDBG grants is predicated on that count that we have. So each undercounted person means 2,000 in funding lost per year. 2,000 lost per year. And so if you have 1,000 kids that are not counted in Santa Maria, and that could very well happen, over 10 years, there'll be a loss of $20 million to the community. And that is a lot of money. And that's money that can go to our kids and to the services in our community. Santa Maria has about 6 hard-to-count census tracts, and we are doing our best. We're putting our heads together and to figure out how to get that done. And every 10 years this happens, and we try to figure out how best to get it done, and we're doing it. We'll do it. Initially, people will be counted online, but ultimately, if we don't count them, we will have the census takers going door to door, which is very important. I always tell people that one year I did that, was so many years ago. And I went to one house and the man did not want to tell me how many bathrooms he had in the house. That was such a sacred thing for him. Now, he lived in a tract. I also knew people lived there, so I knew how many bathrooms he had. But I could not put that down. He would not tell me at all how many bathrooms he had in the house. We're working on our general plan update, which I know is going to make Lori tomorrow real happy. And because she's been saying, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? So we really need to do this. Santa Maria is growing. And so we are embarking on a comprehensive update to the general plan. This takes years and lots of money. I figured it was maybe a 9-month project. No, it takes a long time so that we can plan for the future. According to the state, we're supposed to add 37,000 people by the year 2040. And it's worth noting we added more than 22,000 people from 2000 to 2010. I'm looking at my watch because last year I didn't give Jason much time. I was a big hog and I took all the time and not realizing. Downtown, the Planning Commission has extended the building permit for the Gateway Mixed-Use Project at the corner of Broadway and Main, which will be a 4-story mixed-use building. I'm really anxious for that to go up. The renderings were beautiful, and I would like to see that come to fruition. We have a new owner of the Town Center Mall. We have a streetscape project that has gone to Caltrans back and forth, and I think they finally have said it's okay to do. Broadway repaving is scheduled for spring of 2021, which is going to make a lot of people happy. And staff continues to evaluate the most bang for the buck and the site of the future landfill. We keep saying the future landfill. I think it was, when I got on the council, it was going to be in 2012 or something, and then they kept pushing it out because we have been smarter and smarter about our waste. I'm sure most of you have heard our water and sewer rates have gone up. On the 1st of this month, the City Council unanimously agreed to increase the water and sewer rates with the new prices taking effect January 1, 2020. And the key aspect of this is setting rates is ensuring that they're based on the cost, the actual cost to operate water and wastewater system. We're not making any money off of this. This is what we have to do with the water rates. And Santa Maria's cost for average single-family resident users land in the bottom 1/3 compared with other agencies in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. I'm sure you've heard that energy-wise, the City of Santa Maria is pursuing a variety of energy efficiency projects, including the new lighting of the city parks, building up to 3 small power plants, solar and landfill gas that we'll be using, and replacing heating, ventilation, and air conditioning units at the city facilities, plus installing artificial turf at Atkinson Park. The cost will be about $30 million. The City Council authorized $528,000 in late 2018 for an audit to identify suitable projects. Secondly, the City Council approved joining the Monterey Bay Community Power Community Choice Aggregation Program and serves as an alternative to PG&E, and this is the key thing, has the ability to lower costs. I'm still a skeptic, but we'll wait and see how that comes out. As I said earlier, the city is working for you. We sincerely care about our community connections. We partner with Central Coast Literacy. I saw Ms. Ortega here today, and thank you very much for what you do. It's really great to go to her. They have a luncheon at the end of each year, and hear the stories how she has helped the people in Santa Maria learn to read and write, and what they have done with those skills. It's just amazing. We encourage the public to register for our police academies that are done in both English and Spanish. Our Lease Those programs through the fire department, which is a disaster program. The city supports a very, very popular Downtown Fridays. Ed, thank you very much. And last month concluded the 4th successful season. And we've averaged around 3,000 people each day. What a record. And it's really neat when you go down there for Downtown Fridays and just cruise around, because there's just families, and they come and have dinner, and it's just really mellow, and they're listening to the music and having a good time. Thousands of people attended the inaugural Santa Maria Open Streets event, and thank you, Carlos, I know you're here, for the Open Streets event. That was just great. And I know some business people didn't like it, but maybe by next year they will be confirmed advocates of this. The city's transit division continues to partner with the Chamber's Visitors Bureau to operate the Santa Maria Wine Trolley. And if you've never done that, it's just, even if you don't drink wine, it's just really, really fun to do, except at the part where you're on the freeway. But once you get into the windy hills, that's really great. The freeway is a little scary. Serve Santa Maria has now been for more than 10 years, and it's organized 18 highly successful cleanup days. And if you've not participated, you really owe it to yourself to do that. You go down to Maldonado Center, you sign up for the project you want, and it's just really great to meet a lot of people. You see all age groups, and you see people bringing their kids. I think it's really important when we teach our youth to give back to their community and to be part of their community. We have challenges ahead, and we see homeless population in the city of Santa Maria. We have the challenge of housing, which goes along with this. And I just think it's really important. I'm always reading articles from different newspapers, but out of Sacramento, there's a project that was done that was, it's called Estrella Vista, and they built 87 units. This averaged construction cost per unit of $736,239 per unit. This is called low-income housing. Now, and I know Joe Halsell has said that, I can't remember the actual cost of housing, what it should be here in the state of California, but by policies in Sacramento, these prices are increasing. No wonder people can't afford to live here. We have a project here which is $37 million project for 80 units, which basically is going to cost $463,000. These are things that we are paying for as taxpayers. And we should be angry at California and the cost that keeps coming up. When we see the costs of housing and the regulations and the taxations, I think it's obscene. And yet we keep sending the same people back to keep making the same decisions. And that's why I just tell people, when you see what your money is being spent for here in California, I sit on the SBK board. I did not support the gas tax. And I do not trust what other politicians are going to do with my money. And so now the governor is saying, we're going to use some of that money for housing. And we go, no. We in California, we elected, said we want that money to be used for the gas, for the transportation, for our roads, for any of our public transportation. And I think it's wrong when they take that money and they switch it around. And I'll tell you, if we did at the city, we would have so many people yelling at us. I mean, it'll make the baseball, softball fields look like nothing in comparison to people yelling at us. And we would. And we would be wrong for switching that around. You don't go and tell people you're going to do something and then say, oh, by the way, I changed my mind because I think we need it here. And and we have the challenges of what Prop 109 did, which was the prison alignment. We have problems with what Prop 47 did, what Prop 57 did. When you start saying that these infractions are now misdemeanors that were once felonies, I don't know. And I've heard stories about people being in stores where someone will come in with leave with a basket full of food. And I was in shopping one day and the checker said, did you see that? I said, yes. A person left with a basket full of food, didn't pay for it, and they don't stop them. Because anything under $950, they're not going to do anything to them. And this is what their Prop 47 and Prop 57 did. And so it's built as safe neighborhoods and safe schools. And I say, please read that. Please pay attention when you see Sheriff Brown saying, I don't support that. Or you see Joyce Dudley, our district attorney, saying, I can't support that. And I think it's really important to pay attention because now here we are. And we in the city of Santa Maria are having to deal with that. And I think that's so important what we have to deal with. People are saying, why don't you do something about the homeless? There's not much we can do. They can be cited. Our police officers have to take all of their worldly possessions. They have to document them. They have to file them away. And they have to keep them for 90 days. And some of you can look at some of the shopping carts and know that you would not want to catalog what is in the shopping carts. And yet our police officers are having to do that. The Boise decision, which prevents law enforcement from arresting or even ticketing people camping and sleeping on public sidewalks and parks. We've seen the city, we've seen pictures. I was in San Francisco, of LA and San Francisco, and you don't want to see that in Santa Maria. And yet the police officers' hands are tied on so many of these things. I talked about home prices, housing prices. The governor has put together a task force, and he wants, from every county, he wants a supervisor, he wants a mayor of a large city and a mayor of a small city to put together plans. And he's put money aside, put together plans how we can provide housing. And we know we need to provide housing. We've got too many people living together in one house. And I told my colleagues on SBK, you guys really need to be honest about the kinds of regulations that you're putting on housing. We don't do that in Santa Maria. We see how important it is for families to grow in their own homes and not have to pile into one home. So I hope I left you enough time, Jason. Again, I want to thank you all for being here and thank you for voting for Measure U. And now I'm going to welcome our City Manager, Jason Stilwell. He'll give you the most boring part of the charts and everything. So if you want to take a nap, you can do so.
Thank you, Mayor Patino. As you heard, we have a lot going on in Santa Maria, and we have some some challenges, but a lot of new good things happening and a lot of steady progress on the work we have been doing. And again, Measure U has been transformative for us. And I just reiterate that we appreciate the support of the community and we look forward to continuing to earn that trust. And as the mayor alluded to, I'll work here to put a finer point on some of the comments she made and get into some of the weeds of the details behind it. But mostly I want to just leave some time for questions. I know that we covered a lot of information and a lot of folks here, and we anticipate you'll have questions. So let me just run through a few of these here. So as the mayor mentioned, we have stronger indicators. We see the crime rate is down. We see our economy is stronger. We have increase in jobs. We have our housing prices have continued to grow. That's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's an indicator of a positive economy. On the other hand, it's really adding new challenges to people's quality of life as they're having to devote more of their income into housing. We continue to provide quality services. As the mayor indicated, we've been able to expand the number of those services utilizing Measure U, and we continue to utilize technology as ways to enhance our services. And I'll touch a little bit on that as well. So I mentioned the housing prices. We see the housing prices have jumped to 400,000, in the 400,000 range. The house we bought up on the north side of town doubled in assessed value since 2012. So I mean, it's a challenge for people here trying to have affordable housing. Our unemployment rate is 3.8%, and for those of you who track unemployment, the economists typically say full employment is at 4%. So we're seeing a real tight labor market. People who want to have jobs are able to have jobs, and employers are having challenges being able to fill jobs. I could mention we had a bunch of muffins and things in our office yesterday for a new employee, and she didn't show up. She took another job. And, so we have extra muffins. But I mean, it's a challenge for employers here, right? Employees have a lot of opportunity, a lot of things they can do. So we're going to continue to recruit for that position. Just here, the unemployment rate has steadily declined as the economy stays strong here. Santa Rita's unemployment rate is typically higher than other areas because of our agricultural economy has more cyclicality to it. And our sales tax and property tax continue to show steady growth. Our hotel tax is showing positive growth overall as a trend, but versus last year it's down because last year we had a number of folks coming up from the firefighters fighting fires and people evacuating the Montecito area, so it was an aberration last year. But we do have steady hotel growth. We have, I think, 1,675 hotel rooms now. And we have different strategies on how to target our tourist population. Obviously, we still get a lot of folks who just come to Santa Maria here for business or here for pleasure. We also have a lot of folks, as the mayor indicated, who come to Santa Maria as a home base for them to take the wine trolley or go to the wineries or go up to Pismo. So it's our tourism growth is steady as well. And if you want to go to santamariavalley.com, you can see we have an externally focused marketing effort. Most of us don't see it because we're already here, right? So the marketing effort is really on people outside the area, letting them know about Santa Maria. If you did the swirl, it was a social media trending effort we had to get people to understand that Santa Maria is in a wine region, the second oldest viticulture area in the state. And so if you can go on santamariavalley.com, swirl your wine, make a little image of what your spilled wine looks like, post it on your social media, and have fun with that. And as I indicated as well, we are continuing to utilize technology to better provide services. There's two phases of this. One is we're utilizing it to, right now, to enhance our employees' abilities to provide the service. And the second phase of that is once we have it in place of how we can use the service, we hear from our residents and our customers more need and more demand to be able to do more online. Much like everyone does with Amazon, or when your phone bill tells you that you're running out of minutes, we hear from folks they want to know about that with their water use as well. So people want to be able to check their building permits online and have more transparency. So we're enhancing technology both to meet service expectations, but also as a way to do more and to meet growing demand. On November 5th, we're going to go live with our new 911 and records management system, and that'll be huge for our public safety people, primarily to be able to respond to calls appropriately, quickly, understand what they're getting into, and being able to tackle those issues that need 911 response. We also have, we continue to expand our fiber optic network. We have we're working with partners with Wave Business to provide broadband solutions in the city of Santa Maria and for the businesses in the area as well. We have an on-site data center secure in our new police station down on Gloucester and Arabia. And as the mayor alluded, we also continue to do real well with grants. We have a $2 million grant to address homelessness. We've been working with our community partners to utilize those funds. We received as the mayor mentioned, we just received a federal grant for 9 new firefighters, and that will be going into effect here as we train the firefighters. We received a grant for the new big fire truck. We mentioned that last year, but that was about a $1 million grant. And we continue to receive grants for our road network, our library, working with Allen Hancock College on a makerspace program, and a lot of just exciting ways for us to be able to leverage broader funding. Again, just a finer point on what the mayor mentioned, our pavement index is a 70, which is better than most communities around here, and that's just been from decades of steady progress. We've continued to fix the roads with preventative maintenance, which is cheaper to fix at the front end than to wait for the roads to be deteriorated, which costs more to fix on the back end. And once you can stay ahead of that curve, you're able to stretch those dollars further with more preventative maintenance and have a higher pavement index. I see the mayor looking at her watch, so. So she mentioned too, I mean, the support of Measure U was the result, I think, of the trust that we have in the community, and we mentioned again last year, we thank you for that, for having trust in your city to provide your services. We know we have to continue to earn that trust, but as was with, I think I mentioned last year as well with the survey results, we have 74% of the folks satisfied or very satisfied with the services they're receiving from the city, and that's a great thing that we continue to strive to meet that level of responsibility. And just this is a chart we often show in the budget, but just where the dollar of taxes go, really it's primarily for police and fire. There's often questions of what type of services the city provides. So police and fire are the top 2, then recreation and parks, and then our support services for that, which are IT and finance and payroll, things to support all the city work. And then library and public works and community development are down on the lower part. So those are the services we provide. We don't provide a social safety net. We work with our nonprofits that do that, and the county primarily provides those services. And as the mayor mentioned, we are facing ongoing challenges with trying to maintain a balanced budget, primarily because of the growing pension obligation costs. We also are anticipating revenue softening as the economy softens as well in the next few years, but we don't see a recession on the immediate horizon. And construction continues. We are continuing, as the mayor mentioned, there's construction on just about every corner, and if people ask what's going on that corner and the other corner, it's tough to keep track sometimes. There's a lot going on. I think we figured every developable parcel in town has some kind of interest on it. And so it is really important for us to embark on this general plan update and hear from the community of where we want to go next. We are going to have much of our current developable land developed, and for the next 4 years, what type of community do we all want to live in? And that's it. Hopefully we have some time for questions, but that's a snapshot of the state of the city, and so thank you for your